protect themselves from the jackal's attack or from the foxes. It's not to throw their paws and try to scratch something or try to bite their enemies. It's not like the skunk who spreads out such a strong essence that scares away their enemy. The most offensive tool the sheep have, you want to know what it is? It's just coming together. When they feel threatened, they don't spread out. They come together and they compact themselves and they press against one another, because it's harder for an attacker to get a hold of one sheep when they're all together, kind of a mesh with one another, as opposed to drifting apart and trying to think that you can outrun your enemy. That is the most defensive mechanism that sheep have, is to come together and to kind of press against each other, so the enemy won't be able to tell where one begins and the other one ends. I think there's a spiritual teaching there. I think that it could very well tell us that when we find ourselves in danger, we should not stay home or drift away from the congregation, or to think that we can make it on our own, or to even think that I'm going to go somewhere else who's going to understand my needs. No, there's a very real teaching in the song that tells us that yes, by sticking together, we become strong. Now, you prepare a table before me, in the presence of my enemies. Now, the word prepared, in its original language, it means something that requires the host's involvement in everything that's being prepared. If I say to you, I prepare a message or a sermon to preach to you this morning, I'm not telling you how long it took me, how much reading I had to do, how much praying I had to do. I'm just telling you I had to prepare for this morning, because I couldn't come here unprepared. But the original word, when he says you prepare a table for me, it means you arranged it. You took the time to arrange linen in such a way that when I approach the table, it is not a table like the table when you go out to a restaurant that is not especially prepared for you. You want water? They put water in a cup. They just wipe it with a damp cloth, and then you go and have a seat. The table that the king prepares, the table that God prepares for you and me, is a table like no other table. First of all, it's not a table that you go to a Class C or a Class B restaurant. Because nowadays they rate the restaurants. They rate them from A to C. And when they can't make letter C, they shut them down. But God prepares a kingly table. Do you understand that? A kingly table only hosts royalty. Hello, somebody. That means that you are precious in His eyes. And if He takes the time to arrange a table for you and me, it's got to be a table that He finds worthy of Him to sit at, but also for you to sit by His side. So He prepares the table before you, means the following. He arranges it in front of your enemies. It means the following. He's not intimidated by the threat that is before you. He's not scared of what has challenged you. He doesn't care. He does not give a fly. He doesn't care. Can I get this through you? He doesn't care. He doesn't care who's standing by your side, intimidating you. Whether it's illness, whether it's death, whether it's whatever it is, you call it, you know its name. He still takes the time to prepare a table for you in such a way that is unique to your relationship between you and God. He arranges the table. Why? Because only He knows what is to your satisfaction. When I try to fix a table in my house, what we have in the kitchen, we have a little kitchen area. We hardly use the dining room. But we always eat at a round kitchen. I can set up the table, but my wife finds a different way to set up the table. And all I gotta say, okay, that's the way you want it? I just look at it, but I guarantee you the next time I still get it wrong. It takes me a little while to learn things. Don't say amen. But only God knows how you need your table to be arranged. You don't eat at a table that's all messy and dirty. But God comes, oh, I wish I had a piece of linen. God comes and He lays down a piece of linen, and perhaps He says, my daughter, my son, my child, he likes to sit at the head of the table. Or this is his special bowl. Let me serve him in the bowl that he appreciates the most. Oh, this is his favorite cup. He loves this cup. She loves this cup. So He prepares the table in such a way that when you look at the table, you only can say, wow. Now, eating, surprisingly enough, eating was very important in those days. So even the shepherds, when they were out in the field, there was a group of shepherds, listen to this, there was a group of shepherds that went ahead of their fellow shepherds and they prepared the table. So by the time the group of shepherds that were behind made it with the flock and kind of made a fold for the sheep to spend the night, they would spread out a table that they can all sit down and have a delicious dinner. Now, why does the psalmist says, you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies? Because the table makes a community. You want to know who your friends are? I can tell you who my friends are. My close friends, those that I invite to my house to eat. You don't invite everybody to your house. Those that you invite, those family members, those friends that you invite to your house to eat, those become your close. But you might say, oh, Pastor Oscar or Brother Oscar, you haven't invited me to your house. Give me some chance. I can't invite everybody at the same time. But table makes community. When we have our events here in the parking lot and we have tables, it is awesome to sit across someone else and just share a time together. You realize you're part of a big family. You realize that you're loved. You realize that you're not alone at the table. If your family has dinner at the table, instead of having dinners in front of their TV sets in their own bedrooms, that is the biggest treasure the biggest legacy, one of the biggest legacies you can ever leave to your children. Is to sit at a table and have a good meal. And set everything at the table. So having a table set before you means the following. You're welcome. It means you're welcome in my community. It means you're not only welcome, but that you belong right there where you are. So when the psalmist said, you prepare a table for me, it says, God, you're throwing a banquet for me. In the midst of my trial, in the midst of my difficulties, you still take the time to feed me. You still take the time to look at all the details you need to look at to make me feel welcome and make me feel that I belong to you. I wish somebody would get excited about that. When you read that in the Psalms, it means that, remember, the Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. I lack nothing today. I lack nothing yesterday. And I won't lack anything tomorrow. Because you're by my side. Because you throw a banquet for me. Because you know how to throw a party. Because you know how to welcome me. So God as the host does 4 things. Number 1, He throws a banquet. Number 2, He honors you before your adversity.